So this is the week of love or hate or not love. What did you guys decide to do? Well, anyways, we start off with Jenny's work, and she went after love. And typical, nice way to start, I would work a little bit on my processing. All the colors in this image appear a little flat. Pop out those blues, bring out the detail, get in there and make it more than what it is. It's almost a heart that's being created right here between their heads and his V-neck of his sweatshirt. So that's something to think about and play up when you're editing. You don't need this post over here. You don't need whatever is going on over here. So maybe pull it into a square crop. I'm getting picky, you guys. I'm always looking at what you're looking at and trying to figure out how to make your images better. I like what's happening up here. You've got what feels like the half of a heart, but that's not enough to sustain the picture. The first thing I see is this truck. It's a distraction. If I wanted to photograph this mural, I'd wait for that truck to be out of the way. This one, I'm really not sure what you're looking at. I got a little bit of shadow popping in over here. I got these two women walking away from me. They have no significant interaction. They're dead center in the frame. But then I see strippers. If it's about strippers, move in closer. I see the little white chapel over on the side, move in closer. But position that stripper sign in between the trees. You don't have to cut off the S. So look at all the details and where things are overlapping. Remember, you're trying to tell a story through your photographs. Okay, I thought this was kind of fun to play with the king and queen of hearts. Good idea, nice metaphor. But let's look at these images. Boy, are they flat. So let's pop up the contrast. Let's give them some depth. Let's do some editing. I want you guys to edit your work. Edit out this stuff in here, right here, right here. You know, what's going on here? What detail is up here? It's about this. What is it about beyond in this photograph that you're showing us? Because right here it's about this. And this, it's decorative. But decorative isn't bad, but it's not tight and concise. Got a little bit coming in over here. So think about how you're framing. Same with this, the queen hiding out with the flowers, looking good. But what is this shadow? It's awkward. It feels wrong. Because you're in control of this photograph, you have all the choices to make. That shadow does not need to be there. You can move. This one, love it, just wed. King and queen. Well, the overlapping of things is a little awkward of the king and queen. And then why is the just wed not in focus? I want the whole darn thing to be in focus. Frame it better. Okay, so we saw an article this week about murals, and I think these are great shots. They're fun with the fisheye lens, but I have to always say, why are you photographing the murals? They are someone else's art. And there was a lawsuit filed against someone, well, not someone, a car company that was driving up and down streets. I believe it was in Detroit. I could be wrong about that, with murals in the background. And they were citing a copyright infringement. So, right here, these aren't artistic expressions. You haven't made it your own except for using the fisheye lens. So, I would think about why you're documenting. So, if you're documenting it to document the art, I would be including the artist's information on these images. We kind of talked about that earlier. A couple of you guys have been photographing the murals. I think they're really cool. I want to photograph them as well. But you got to start to think about what are the legal implications? Implications. Oh my goodness, implications. I'll get to the word. But I do like the shots. They're colorful, they're bright. The fisheye lens was fun. But what can you do with these? Something to think about. Love this one. I love the pink. I love the Cadillac. Well, a pink Cadillac, hey. But what I think is interesting is this up top here. So a lot of times I'd be like, you know, get rid of that, blah, blah, blah. But I like how it's mimicking the emblem here. It's the emblem of the house. So in that case, I would be a little bit more conscious of how I framed it and make that relationship stronger. So I want you to think about that. Using the heart of the fence to highlight the cupids, looking good here. You've got an eye, the cropping on the little guys up top is looking pretty good. So nice work on this one. I just thought this was interesting. It's something we don't usually see. So it's little hearts on a bench. I would work on popping out those hearts. I would make those reds just glow and sparkle. You know me and lines, I just like this shot. How can you not like an alley? The love store. I love how this guy is walking into the frame and he's looking over at these mannequins. This is a really nice photograph. My one question is, can you move yourself a little bit so that this stoplight is more over to the right of where it says store, the love store, with a stoplight saying stop with all the reds, and then the bottom of the stoplight isn't going to be interfering with that bottom mannequin. So look at how things are stacking up, how things are lining up, but that guy walking in is magic. I like how you're playing with this red umbrella, and I know that you have a white one. You're telling the story of these umbrellas falling in love. I want to see the text with that. So that's something I want to see. You showed me a little book, and we talked about doing cartoon bubbles on it, and I think that would be a lot of fun. I'd love to see you photograph that and put it up on our Facebook page, just so people can see what you were doing with that and how the story was told. So here are our umbrellas getting married at the chapel. I think that's a really fun idea that you just grasped and ran with. This one is just totally funky. It's upside down. I just love how you are twisting and turning things. The handling of the black and white is just beautiful. It just kind of glows. Everything in here is working. I like the abstract nature of it. I like the glowing off of the wallpaper behind. A really fun little mysterious image. Just nice details. I'd be thinking about what else I could do with these. Do you need to do anything else with them? Okay, so I thought this was really cool, and it reminded me of a series of work that I had seen a number of years ago where they had floating McDonald's and Burger King and all different sorts of signs. But to make them floating, they disconnected from the post. So using Photoshop to remove this handle where it's attached to the post down here and remove these. And then it would just be floating in sky. I think that would be something fun to try. I love how the cupids are in the back of the window, not in the back, but in the window of the car. It's framing them. Nice all the way around here. One thing I think about up here, this little hand coming down. I know that's picky, but could you have composed it without that? Does it matter? Those are questions to ask yourself. Ultimately, I don't think it really matters on this one, but you could minimize it by giving the top a little bit darker treatment. So just burning in the top a little bit, be less noticeable. It had a little bit of contrast to this one. I really like what's happening here. It's just so immense, just us driving in. And I'd work on bringing out the detail under here in the shadow area. It can be done. Why don't you send me the raw file of this and I will work it and then do a video on how I pulled everything out for you. So let's give that a try. I think you're having some fun here with blurring things out. I like that you're playing, so keep playing. And once again, to everyone, start playing with your images and seeing what you can do with them to help tell your story in a bigger way. Ultimately, I don't think that this right-hand side with the palm trees is the story. This is the story right here, all of this overlapping right in here. So maybe it would be fun to go back with a long telephoto lens and just try to crop into this area. Perfect. Love the texture here. Oh, my dog is trying to contribute. She's saying hi to everyone. Love the texture here. Love the composition. It has such depth. I'm really drawn into it. Nice energy. It's just keeps you going, keeps you looking. It almost feels like it's active. That top coming down, it's almost raining down on it as we're looking at it. And then the running of the paint down below. This is a really nice little photograph, very simple but telling. Hey, every time I see a shot like this, I think of my favorite photographer, Lee Friedlander. That is always a good thing. Nice. Also a nice shot. One thing I think about on this one is the point up here. I'm guessing that these lights come to a point, but I love what's happening through here. I love the tonality of the image. I'm drawn right in to it. Another nice shot. I like how you played with the color in here. And you can see those are what Keon shot earlier, so they were ceiling lamps. Love it. I pop this a little bit, make the whites a little bit brighter. I believe it was in shadow, but we can trick our viewer. Why don't you send me this file as a raw file as well, and I will also process this one. Hey, this looks a little familiar from a shot we just were talking about. Which one do you think works better? Let's go back and get that other one. Where are you? There you are. So from here to here. Oops, wrong way. So I like how the pink is popping on this one. Everything is just really vibrant. This one could use a little oomph in that regard as well. So pop out that pink a little bit. They have a totally different feel. This one's kind of, I would try to straighten it a little bit. But there's something about it that I'm drawn to. It's kind of rough. I like the comparison of the car with the horse. You see more of that here than you see here. So there's a little bit better depth of field here in this one than there is in this one. This one, it's about the car and the cupids to me. This one, it's about the comparison of the car and the horse. Modes of transportation. Okay, nice photograph. That lock, the shallow depth of field in the background. It reminded me of something Curtis was working on, but this was not Curtis. This was Tiffany. So I find that interesting, locking into the heart. Nice photograph. I love that out of focus note in the background. And then it's layering, it's telling a story. It's not just about this sculpture. It's about what the sculpture represents. So this was a really nice photograph. The black and white handling is looking good. Notice we've got blacks and we have whites. It's not a super contrasty black and white, but it's enough contrast to get the feeling here of what you need, which is interest and depth. If it were less black and white, it would become much flatter and we wouldn't be looking through the image as much. We'd stop. Was this just found out and about? Once again, just nice framing here. Anyways, back to here. So it was just a quick overview this week. Send me those photos if I asked for them. Let's see here. Which other ones? If you want to send me one of these, just to show you the contrast, go for it. I think these were great processing. The color is looking really good on these. The color on here is right on the mark. So you guys did some nice work. Work on processing. Think about what you want to say with your images. Play with the color profiles. And if you have one that you want me to process out to show you how I'd handle it, send it over to me. And if you can, send me the raw. And I will talk to you guys later.